Alright, so I got a really cool idea. I got on the phone the other day with Justin Chan from All About Worship Guitar, and I presented an idea and we both thought it would be awesome. And so what we're gonna do is called the Pod Go Frankenstein Preset Build Challenge. What does that mean? Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start a preset. I'm gonna start with the amp, and then I'm going to send him the preset, and then he's gonna dial in the next thing, which I think would be cab. Justin, you let me know. I think cab would be next. Then he's gonna send it back to me, and I'm gonna build the next effect, and then I'm gonna send it back to him, and he's gonna do his magic and the next effect he wants to do until we've completed an amazing Frankenstein preset. And then I think we're gonna give it away for free. So stay tuned, make sure you subscribe. Let's get into it. All right, here we go. We need to get a brand new blank preset. Oh, this is my huge Pod Go preset that I made in a video. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. I have the Expanse Pack as well right here. I might as well plug the Expanse Pack. If you don't know, I have an Expanse Pack for the Pod Go. It's an ever-growing collection of presets. I keep putting new things in there. You pay once, you get updates for life. Also, Justin, you have your presets in your part. You should tell them all about yours. Yeah, so let's just get a brand new preset. I'm just gonna come way down here, 15A, click on a brand new preset. This is what you get when it's brand new. And I know that me and Justin can make this sound a lot better. So I'm gonna pick an amp first, and this shouldn't take long. It's just what it is. I'm just gonna pick an amp, and then I'm gonna stop, and I'm gonna hand it off to Justin. So what amp do I want? Should I do something I've never really done before? The Mandarin Rocker? I will say I'm using my Reverend with the humbuckers, so I don't know what Justin will be using. I also have single coils in here, but I'm gonna use the humbuckers to dial this in. The rocker, sounds good. The AC30, I've never been a fan of. I already love the matchstick. I love the jazz rivet. I just made a preset with the Princess, so let's pick something else. All right, I'm gonna pick the Brit J45 Bright, which is the Marshall JTM45 Bright channel. There's a picture of it there. I think I like this. Now let's dial it in. Now I'm gonna just keep the stock cab because I'm not messing with the cab. I'm just bringing it up with what's in there. Justin, feel free to change the cab to something completely different. Dial it in differently, whatever you want. Now I'm gonna clean this up a bit. Let's spend some time dialing it in, and then I'll pass it over. I like that. I like that right there. I'm not gonna dial in any snapshot stuff now. Maybe we'll do that later. I'm just gonna get it at a drive that I would use if I had to pick it right now. My neck pickup can kind of clean up. I think I like that. Not too bass heavy. I took some mids out of it. Now if I were to crank, that's 6.2, let's remember that. If I crank the drive, I mean, it sounds good when that drive is cranked, but I want to be able to get a clean tone. I don't know, that sounds pretty good. All right, I'm gonna hand it off. Let's save it first as, what should we save it as? JJ Frankenstein. Let's just call it JJ Frank. How about that? All right, over to you, Justin.
Thank you, Jimmy. Hi everyone, I'm Justin and I'm all about worship guitar, helping you sound and play your best for Jesus. It's my turn to tweak and I'm going to finish the amp cab section by tweaking the cab and the EQ. Let's hear how the patch currently sounds with the stock pickups on my JTV59 Variax, which I think sounds close to Jimmy's Reverend. Personally, it's difficult for me to make good EQ decisions if I hear the amp and cab dry. In general, I find that bass response and mid-transients soften up with a little reverb, so I put on a simple delay and a plate reverb to put some sonic dimension to the tone. If I tweet without a basic wet section, I normally run into issues of a lackluster bass and feeble mids when I add delay and reverb afterwards. Now here's where I tweak the cab and EQ together. As a child of the 80s, I love a good old Marshall tone, and since it's not so common in worship music today, I'm tempted to leave the cab selection as the default so we can use this patch and start a trend. #Marshall Squad. Firstly, let's bring that low pass setting up to 100Hz since we don't need that low end in the mix. Then bring that high pass down to 16 kHz as a starting point. With humbuckers, the more high end we have, the better. We'll leave the other controls at neutral so we can use them to fine-tune later. Let's change some parameters on the cab. There's no need to have the low and high pass filters turned on the cab since we're already using the parametric EQ for that. And here's a secret weapon to bring some sense of realism to the tone: early reflections. I usually start at 33% and go up if I want the tone to have more acoustic depth to it. Secondly, let's use a microphone and tweak. As there's already a massive bass response even with the low pass on, I'll avoid ribbon mics as they lead to low-end buildup. I want to go with the classic SM57, but it's too shrill. So I'll go with a mic that has the character of a SM57 but with a more neutral frequency response, the SM7. I'll also bring that mic back by several inches until I like the balance between the bass boom and the ambience that we get from distance miking. Thirdly, let's address the EQ. I usually target the thump and thud frequencies and like to make a guitar sit nicely in the mix with a gentle mid-cut. For starters, I'll target 150 and 750 Hz with a high Q and reduce by 2 decibels. Then, I'll target 3.7 kHz with a low Q and reduce that by 3 decibels. This subtractive method of EQ looks to eliminate problems in the guitar tone that may manifest later in the mix. Now that the amp cab and EQ are done, it's time for Jimmy to take it from here. Over to you, Jimmy.
Justin, man, this sounds great. Thank you for doing this. This is so much fun. I did notice that I think your pickups in your guitar are much hotter than mine because it was very overdriven when I gave it to you. So I do have a quick question. Do you have your global settings? I forgot to talk about this. My global settings here, my global EQ is, it's on, but it's not doing anything. So it's bypassed basically. So I didn't know if you had anything boosted in yours or if it's also bypassed, but I figured we should talk about that. So yeah, if you compare your E chord to mine, I feel like mine's a lot cleaner even though I'm using my humbuckers. This is my bridge pickup. Yours had a lot more bass, I feel like. Now I do have this bass contour knob, but when I crank it up, I feel like I get closer to your guitar sound. So, but anyways, I started dialing in with it off, so I'll leave mine off. But what we're gonna do today is, well, that's the sound that I gave you. Now here's the sound you gave me. Let's turn on the other effects here. And you did a good job at dialing in this EQ. So here it is. I'll play a different key. G, C, and D. Ever heard of it? All right, so the thing I wanted to do today is I was gonna dial in an overdrive. And so I'll quickly do that, but since your guitar is more, has higher output, you already have a lot of gain, so I don't know that you need much overdrive. Like you said, I don't know that we need much compression either. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna work on snapshots next, and I'm gonna give us a couple different snapshots at different drive ranges to see if we can get you a cleaner tone. So what we're gonna do here is I'm gonna right click on drive and click snapshot. So in snapshot 1, let's get us a lot less drive. Let's come down here and see what this sounds like. So when we bring the drive down, it brings the volume down a bit too. So what I'm gonna do is I'm also going to hit my snapshots on the channel volume. For those watching, channel volume doesn't do anything with tone, but it just is, it's mere pure volume output. So I'm gonna crank that a little bit to kind of equal these out. That's a lot cleaner, so we'll name this one on the pod go. If you click this little button down here, and you can just type in. So I'm gonna type in clean. I'll be interested to see how clean this is for you, Justin. Snapshot 2, we'll say dirty. Snapshot 3, we'll say dirtier. Snapshot 4, dirtiest. So on snapshot 2, let's bump this up a little bit. Start bringing down that channel volume. I'm gonna save it, go to snapshot 1. Snapshot 3, bump it up a little more, come down a little more. And snapshot 4, we'll go back up where we were. So snapshot 1. Snapshot 2. A little more gain, snapshot 3. To get the level up. So I'm actually going to snapshot this level on the cab just so we can gain a little more on this first snapshot since I cleaned it up so much. So snapshot 2, snapshot 1, snapshot 3, snapshot 4. Those all sound about equal now to my ear. Now one of the things I want to do is bring in an overdrive, like I said. One of my favorites is the Timmy, but I don't want to do that today. With this amp, I feel like we need the Minotaur. And since you already have a lot of gain, it's already set at a pretty high gain. I'm going to dial in on snapshot 4. You can dial in on whatever snapshot you want. I like to bring the gain down a good bit and then bring up the drive. So let's see how this sounds. bring the tone up a little bit. Bridge pick, neck pickup. Alright, now I'm hearing a little bit of noise, and so what I want to do is bring this input and turn it on. And it got quieter there. Alright, I'm gonna stop right there, showed you guys some snapshots, dialed in and overdrive the way I like it, put on the input gate. Justin, back to you. Maybe some modulation, I don't know. We could choose some different delays, reverbs to get a more worshipful sound. I don't know, I'll let you decide that, but I'm pretty sure we got a really good sounding preset, so I'm excited to see what you do next.
Thanks, Jimmy. G, C, and D? Jimmy, you got me stumped. You're quite right about the difference in gain between your guitar and mine. I also suspect the pickups of my Variacs are hotter, so I've dialed them back to roughly match yours. My global EQ is indeed off, so there's only one other major difference between your Podgo and mine. My wireless version has an active input buffer, which does have an effect on the tone. I'm suspecting that because there's less frequency attenuation, more frequencies are getting distorted as compared to your Podgo unit, and therefore, the perceived tone on my end has more gain and yours with less gain. To solve this, I've turned on cable length emulation on my wireless, which will result in some top end roll off. At the 3 meter setting, I think I'm getting the same frequency attenuation if I was plugged into a regular Podgo. Actually, to solve this, we should really be working on the same unit and the same guitar. Jimmy, let's start a Kickstarter or something to get one of us over. It's now my turn to finalize the patch, and to do that, I'm going to be focusing on finalizing our gain effects and our wet section. You'll notice that I'm not adding a compressor to the patch. As I've explained in my other videos, there is a danger of over-compression if you're using amp models that already have natural compression. This amp model in particular is based off a Marshall JTM45 with the KT66 output tubes, which I've actually played a vintage specimen in real life during my younger days. Not only was it loud, but the amp hugged the notes in this halo of warmth that could ring for days, no compression required. I'm happy to report that playing through the Brit J45 on the Podgo brought me back to those days. With Jimmy's choice of the Minotaur overdrive, you can leave it on all the time for a crunch tone and roll back the volume on your guitar for sustained cleans. I've added a switch to push the Minotaur's gain up to 9 for lead tones. So even on the clean snapshot, you're able to get 3 levels of gain, namely clean, crunch, and lead. On to the wet section. Yes, Jimmy, we'll be getting more worshipful sounds with our delay and reverb. The transistor tape delay and the glitch reverb. These are my go-to sounds for P&W, and there are a few tricks to employ on the Podgo to make them sound big and immersive without getting in the way of your playing. On the delay, I like to turn the scale down to 99%, which is theoretically negligible in terms of spacing the delays out between the speakers. That's what the scale control does. The delay time of the right side is set by the scale parameter as a percentage of the left delay time. When scale is at 100%, the right side delay time matches the left side. Then, as the scale parameter is reduced, the right side delay time gets shorter as a percentage of the left delay. At 99%, you won't get delay separation, but instead, There'll be a thickening and widening effect due to the resulting stereo imaging. On the glitz reverb, I also tune the EQ in a certain way. If I were to record for a cinematic soundscape project, I'll have as much of the frequencies affected by the reverb as possible. But a reverb tuned that way is going to be too thick for intricate clean picking, where you don't want the notes to be drowned out in a sea of reverb. How do we retain clarity and separation of the notes while having an immersive reverb? I tune the reverb as follows. Firstly, turn up the pre-delay to 45 milliseconds and above, which reduces the immediacy of the reverb's onset. Then, bring up the low cut control so that the low end isn't being affected by the reverb. While majestically thunderous when the low cut is off, we don't want this for P&W. Next, bring down the high cut control to taste. One more zing in the reverb sound, set the high cut higher. As an added bonus, I've included a chorus pedal when you need the 80s vibe, since as at June 2022, Top Gun Maverick is all the rage. This is added post-amp, which makes the chorus effect more distinctive than having it pre-amp. Finally, we just need to bring it all together in a control scheme that makes sense. I've laid out the controls over 6 stomps, so you have a choice of running the pot go in either stomp mode or snapshot mode. On the left, you have the ability to adjust the level of gain to your needs, from engaging the Minotaur and turning the gain up with Gain Plus. On the right, you have the ability to adjust the reverb for 4 sounds: a standard sound with both switches off, a higher decay sound with the verb picking switch on, a gentle swell with just the reverb plus switch on, and a thick swell by having both switches on. Since I'm a Storm mode guy, I'll primarily live in snapshot 1, but with Jimmy dialing in various levels of gain, you'll be able to have the other snapshots useful for the Planet Shakers or Cutlass songs that come your way, or use the same patch for those Iron Maiden cover band nights. Now that I'm done with tweaking, I'm going to hand it off to Jimmy for the final sign-off. Jimmy, over to you.
Wow, this sounds really good. I think, Justin, it's ready. I think we should just give it away right now. There's a link in the description. You can go click on it, send you over to a page where you can download it for free right now. Try it out, see how it sounds with your guitar. one of the things I noticed about this video is that this video took a lot longer than I imagined that it would. If you notice, Justin at the beginning has like a nice clean haircut, and then the second part of Justin's haircut was definitely a lot longer. So you can tell we've been working on this a long time. And there's gonna be a second part of this video over on Justin's channel when I finally get around to recording my portion of it, and it'll be fun. So subscribe to his channel so you can go check it out. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Go enjoy the preset, and thanks for watching this video. Glad you're here. See you in the next one. Bye.